It's called Please Talk About It When I'm Gone. My family helped my mother battle cancer for 5 years, and we lost her in August of 2002. And I guess I knew I was going to write about it. I knew I would inevitably write about it, but I didn't know what shape it would take. And it took me a long time to process the grief. I think I'm happy to say, looking back, I think it would have been inappropriate in some ways if I had written about it right away. It took probably 5 or 6 years before I even had any sense of what I wanted to do. And I did a few aborted attempts of a novel. And I think because I'd been blogging and really working with nonfiction for the first time in a creative way, it occurred to me one day that it could be, and that it had to be, a memoir. Because I was trying to create these characters, and I realized the characters were already there. The situation's already there. Why hide behind artifice when, you know, it's right there? Then for me, the issue became, how do you write something that's so cliche, so potentially mawkish and painful, and something that no one would want to read, I certainly wouldn't want to write. So this focus is really more on the process of helping a loved one, wanting to write something that I could give to others who may find themselves in a similar situation, and answering some of the questions I wish I had answers to, but really just a tribute to grief and survival. So the first section is from a chapter called Violence. You can't combat cancer with fists or poetry. You can try with chemicals and prayers, but as it is with most of our earthly affairs, it all comes down to timing and luck. We thought we were lucky at first. In many ways, we were. In that the diagnosis was made in time and the initial operation was successful. The cancer hadn't spread. 10 years ago, the doctor said, I would have sent you on your way. Now, knowing what we know, we'll do chemotherapy to be on the safe side. Better safe than sorry, we all agreed. We got lucky, we said, a year later when no cancer had come back. We were lucky, we said, all through 98 and 99, and we entered a new millennium free and clear, the cancer a thing of the past, like the Y2K bug. A few months later, we were back in the hospital. It had come back. It was, we all agreed, time to fight. What else could we do? When it returned a third time in 2001, cancer once again obliged us to circle the wagons, convinced we had no options but to keep fighting as a family. My sister asked questions, took notes, and worried. My father talked with my mother, lived with her, and ran point regarding decisions, directions, and dealing with the obligations incumbent upon anyone who's repeated the words, "Till death do us part." I did my own note-taking, question-asking, and behind-the-scenes improvising. Above all, I envisioned the worst, hoped for the best, and lost sleep like it was my job. During the summer of 2002, when it sometimes felt like the walls were closing in, literally, as anyone who's experienced crisis-induced anxiety can attest, I dropped pounds I didn't need to lose. I ate some good food and drink, and I drank some good drinks, but those miserable months frequently felt like one unappetizing, ill-digested meal. The worst days were when my stomach and mind simultaneously conspired against me. Not enough nourishment and too much mental unrest will cause side effects even strangers notice. Still, I knew what was at stake, and my primary responsibility, I felt, was to keep things as upbeat and optimistic as possible. This was certainly for my mother's sake, but it was also a fairly pragmatic strategy. What good, I thought, could possibly come from giving up hope or letting my mother see the insecurity and the dread that on certain days reflected the weather, thick and humid and getting hotter as the afternoons dragged on. But we all reserve the right to despise this disease that was decimating the woman we loved. It's not especially difficult to describe, and I suppose it's not hard to imagine the defensive feelings that boil up when you see someone close to you suffering. The fury at times in the